Welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices, the podcast dedicated to bringing you diverse, innovative leadership insights and actionable strategies for success. Join hosts Laura McNeil and Bob Medeiros as they explore the art and science of role model leadership through thought-provoking conversations with real professionals. Whether you're a seasoned leader or aspiring to excellence, Sterling Visionary Voices is your guide to navigating the complexities of your leadership journey.
Hello and welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices. I'm your host, Bob Medeiros, and it's my pleasure to introduce our guest today, Melissa Kopp. Melissa is a seasoned executive with over 25 years of experience in the payments, financial services, and financial technology or fintech industries. She has held leadership roles at major organizations such as FIS WorldPay, the Cincinnati-based fintech startup Neural Payments, and most recently, the League of Credit Unions and Affiliates, Leverage, in the role of Chief Revenue Officer. Throughout her career, Melissa built a strong track record of driving results across enterprise sales, business development, and go-to-market strategy. She successfully led cross-functional teams and executed strategic initiatives focused on digital payments, customer experience, and revenue growth. In addition, she oversaw contract management processes and served as the key brand ambassador, delivering thought leadership through public speaking and industry events. Melissa's core area of expertise includes payments innovation, client experience strategy, fintech growth, executive leadership, sales enablement, and contract lifecycle management. Melissa, it is so nice to have you joining us here on Sterling Visionary Voices.
Thanks, Bob. I'm really excited to be here. That was a lot of words. Doesn't seem like my careers have that many words in it, but thank you for having me.
There you go. There you go. Well, seriously, it's really, I'm excited to talk to you about our topic for today. Something that we're calling case studies of AI use in banking.
Yeah.
Now, as I read through your introduction, it made me think, could you give me a little background on the League of Credit Unions and Affiliates and how leverage fits into all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the League of Credit Unions and Affiliates really serves and advocates for credit unions across multiple states. What they do is they help them navigate everything from regulatory challenges to growth opportunities. So within that, Leverage is the League's for-profit business service organization. So our role, and my role, is really to help credit unions operate more effectively by connecting them with solutions through strategic partners and expertise that support their growth and success. So what's particularly relevant to today's conversation is that credit unions are being just inundated with AI vendors, fintechs, and technology providers, right? So it can be difficult to separate, hey, what's real value from what's just marketing hype over here? So there's a lot of confusion. So Leverage effectively helps to bridge that gap by helping them evaluate solutions. We pre-vet all of these vendors and partners so that understanding the challenges that, the credit unions are trying to solve helps us decide, hey, what partners can we connect them with that can become trusted and really align with their strategic goals. And one thing I'm particularly excited about is Leverage recently commissioned in partnership with Cornerstone Advisors an AI study called AI in Credit Unions from Experimentation to Execution, where we surveyed 78 of our credit unions across the country, really to understand where they are in their AI journey. It was eye-opening. So what we found, and I'll allude to this as we chat today, is that credit unions have moved beyond really asking whether AI matters. They're now trying to determine how to deploy it and effectively where they're going to see that greatest value and ROI. So,
Well, that's really a timely topic, and I appreciate understanding how leverage fits into the overall continuum here, I guess. And I'm really looking forward to helping me and our audience understand how banking, and more specifically, credit union industry, is really applying this emerging technology. But I guess that's probably the wrong word for it, because I look back and ChatGPT was released almost 4 years ago. So it's not really
Yeah.
emerging. It's a better framing is how the banking sector may be implementing this technology. So maybe it makes sense to go back to the start with a little background on what AI is from your frame of reference and how it's currently being used within financial systems.
Yeah, sure. So let me do my best here. 'Cause I am certainly not on the ground level here when it comes to AI creation. But at its core, Bob, AI technology is technology really that helps organizations process information, identify patterns, and really automate tasks faster than what you and I can do manually, right? So the important thing to understand is that AI isn't replacing people. And I think that's some of the fear and the hesitation we see right now. Rather, we need to think about it helping people work smarter. And what's interesting is that AI is no longer something that credit unions are talking about for the future. It's already actually being used today. I mean, one of the biggest findings in the study was that it's already running alongside many contact centers, fraud monitoring systems, marketing platforms, and a lot of back office operations. So the conversation has really shifted from awareness to execution, but we're not at the point where it's at scale just yet. So some of the areas that we'll see kind of the most traction going forward, because that's what we're seeing now, is in that contact center support and operational productivity, right? And they're not experimental use cases anymore. They're delivering measurable business outcomes with really strong ROI. So what excites me for my credit unions is that AI has the potential to really help them serve their members. So doing what they've always done best, just more efficiently and really at a greater scale.
Excellent. So if I captured correctly from that study, the place that it's implemented the most right now is in those contact center support kind of thing.
Yeah. And we're seeing it in a lot of fraud monitoring systems, marketing platforms, and a lot of back office functions. Yeah.
Okay. So you had mentioned before that AI could be implemented in lending. How are you, or how do you plan to use AI in the lending side of a credit union?
Yeah, lending is one of the most exciting opportunities, in my opinion, because it impacts both member experience and operational efficiency, right? So AI can help automate things like, think about document collection. I help you identify missing information, support underwriting decisions, and really overall accelerate processing times. But the key point is that AI isn't replacing your loan officers. It's actually helping them spend less time pushing paper and more time serving members and looking for those loan opportunities. And one of the frameworks that we highlighted in the study is that successful AI initiatives create value really in 4 areas. So efficiency, revenue growth, risk reduction, and strategic value. And lending really touches all 4 of those, Bob. So when you think about it, a faster loan decision improves efficiency. Better targeting creates growth opportunities, and improved decision support really reduces the risk. And a better borrowing experience is just going to increase that member satisfaction and maintain that relationship for years to come. So if, as credit unions trying to navigate the lending landscape, we can help as leverage identify and connect institutions with those fintechs and lending partners that can support those initiatives. So lending is a really exciting area.
Well, that is really interesting, how you're able to apply it to do some of the things and let your people focus on more important things. So
yeah, absolutely.
So if I sit back and say, "Hey, I'm a little credit union, and I'm new to all of this," what advice would you have? What would you give me in order to start my engagement into AI and helping me as a small credit union?
Oh gosh, little or big, Bob. I think that they're all kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs in some capacity, right? Some are further along than others, but I think the same questions and hesitation exists, big or small. But first and foremost, plan. And if I could put that in all caps, I would in a podcast. Plan, plan, plan. So fall budget planning retreats are sneaking up on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the perfect time to slot this as an agenda item. But please make sure to view this as a pillar in the plan and not a component of one vertical over another. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that we're seeing right now within financial institutions is that there's AI being deployed in separate little verticals across the organization, but there's no one overarching plan. So what I would guide our credit unions to do is start with the problem, not the technology. And one of the most interesting findings is that AI activity is actually outpacing AI strategy. So nearly half of the credit unions have no formal AI strategy or are experimenting department by department without that executive ownership. That should be scary because you've got people doing things, you've got no governance, you've got no policies in place. So don't start by asking, what AI tool should I buy? You should really start by asking, where are employees spending too much time, right? Where are members experiencing friction? You could actually flip those if you wanted. And what processes are slowing us down, right? Because that's where AI can help. And maybe it's loan processing, maybe it's answering repetitive member questions, or maybe it's fraud management. But start where the value is visible and measurable. And you build that business case, you establish governance, and you scale from there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, it certainly makes sense to have a strategy for implementing this across the system as opposed to our little silo. Oh, I'm using it to do a little chat window on the web page.
Right, right. Or, some of the scarier use cases are people are uploading loan documents into Chat GPT, and then, my goodness, we've exposed sensitive information that is now out in the ether. So policies and governance are key.
Right. Well, you had mentioned earlier how, fraud is something that's a concern. And unfortunately, we're seeing that it almost seems like fraud out there on the internet is growing every year. How can AI help combat that from your perspective?
Yeah, fraud is actually where we found the clearest AI ROI in all of our research. I got a few notes here, but so among some of our credit unions already using AI for fraud detection, 85% of them are using machine learning for real-time payment fraud detection, and 62% are using it for synthetic identity detection, really during that digital account opening. So it's really a pattern recognition problem, and that's what AI does exceptionally well. So fraudsters are getting smarter, right? If only they use their talents for good.
You're right.
But they're getting faster and more sophisticated. So AI-enabled fraud detection is quickly becoming less of a competitive advantage and more of a necessity operation when you think about it. Many credit unions already have AI fraud capabilities available through existing vendors that they partner with today and contracts they have. They just simply haven't activated it yet. So I would encourage our credit unions to really dive deep into, some partners you have on the shelf to see what exists there. Because if they're not actually already investing in that or rolling that out, Leverage can help connect you to some of those partners and solutions as well. But I would say in most cases, that functionality is sitting there. You just need to ask.
Oh, golly. Let's see. I'm going to change gears here a little bit. You hear a lot of different stories about the impact on the workforce of incorporating AI in the workplace. And you've mentioned that it's more of a situation of freeing up your workforce to do smarter things or less rote things. It was interesting. I saw an opinion piece in the New York Times just yesterday about how AI might not actually be trying to take all of our jobs.
Right.
But what do you see as the impact of AI on the workforce, specific to banking and the credit union industry?
So I view AI really more as workforce enablement and not workforce replacement. Large language models are best understood as tools that extend employee capacity, not replace them. So credit unions by nature, and this is one of their key values, is that they're relationship-driven organizations. So members are still going to want that trusted advisor, that human connection, when they're making these important financial decisions, right? AI can't replace trust. And that is the number one thing that credit unions have over everyone else. What it can do, though, is eliminate repetitive administrative work, like we talked about earlier, so that those employees can really focus on those high-value interactions and really focus on continuing to build that trust and service their members. So some of the strongest use cases that we're really seeing involve helping employees to the simple things like draft communications or summarize documents, retrieve knowledge, or navigate procedures more effectively. So the institutions that are going to succeed with this won't use AI to replace people. They'll be repurposed. They'll use it to make their people much more effective.
Excellent. So you had mentioned earlier about return on investment. And within credit unions, where do you see the fastest return on investment for the use of AI out there right now?
Yeah, some of our most progressive credit unions right now are seeing that with operational efficiency. Hands down, some of the fastest return. In those four categories under efficiency, revenue growth, risk reduction, and strategic value. But operational productivity is often where the ROI appears first. So when employees can find answers in seconds instead of minutes, or they can automate that documentation, reduce the manual work, the savings really start to compound pretty quickly. And I would say that's why a good majority of operational AI deployments are focused on internal knowledge management and really process documentation. So sometimes the biggest win isn't this massive revolutionary idea, but it's really eliminating thousands of small efficiencies across the organization.
All right. Well, very good. Well, let me ask you one last question, and sure. Of course, if you've got other things that you want to bring up, by all means. So what do you see as the biggest opportunity for credit unions by implementing AI? And that's kind of, we looked at it from an ROI perspective, but I guess, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for credit unions by doing this?
It's making better what they already have in their pocket. So the biggest opportunity for credit unions is that AI is going to allow you to scale what already makes you successful. And what makes them successful is the relationships, the service, and the trust. So credit unions don't need to become AI first institutions to win with AI. They need to just be intentional about it. You need to choose the right use cases, right? You need to measure your outcomes, manage your risk, build the governance models that are going to protect your organization, and then ultimately scale what works for you. Credit unions are fantastic at sharing ideas. And I have seen some of the most unique ideas come out of our credit union partners, big and small. and they're willing to share because they want the movement to continue to thrive, and our members and our service to come first. So those credit unions that win won't be the ones who have the most AI. They'll be the ones that really use it to become more efficient, more attentive to what their members need, and really more capable of ultimately serving them. So, but my goodness, most credit unions that I talk to don't need another AI presentation, right? They just need a roadmap and a plan.
Right.
Roadmap and a plan.
All right. You had mentioned early on about the study that was done for credit unions specifically on the implementation of AI. And, in doing the research for this story, I Googled what I could, and the best I could get was a Deloitte survey for the state of AI in financial services overall. It was just back from March of this year. And it seems to parallel the findings that you have with specifically within the credit unions too. So,
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let me ask you if you had a 15-second, or I won't say 15-second, but a short elevator speech on why folks out there should be taking full advantage of this. What would be your closing comments on making the deal?
I would say I would really hammer home that credit unions don't need to be AI experts, right? And if I had a closing soundbite for us, that's what it would be. What you really need, outside of a plan and a policy,
Right.
Is identify where your problems sit today. Identify the right opportunities, and then connect with the solutions, right? Don't go out and deploy a solution looking for a problem. Find your problem and let's go find the solution together. Because what you want is to deliver meaningful results, and to continue to build on that trust that your members have already placed in you.
Fantastic. Well, Melissa, I really want to thank you once again for your joining us today to discuss this timely topic of the use of AI in banking, and specifically within the credit union world. I personally want to thank you for taking this time to talk with us.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the invite, Bob, and I look forward to connecting 1 year from now so we can share all these awesome ways that our credit unions have deployed AI and all the success that they're seeing. But this has been so fun, so I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you for once again. And folks out there, this is kind of all the time we have for today. I want to thank you all for joining us here at Sterling Visionary Voices. To hear other episodes, just go to sterlingvisionaryvoices.com. And that is our event. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Sterling Visionary Voices, Insights for Role Model Leadership from the Sterling Council. Discover more and connect with us at sterlingvisionaryvoices.com.